Welcome to the HBR IdeaCast from Harvard Business Review. I'm Sarah Green. I'm here today with John Abele, co-founder of Boston Scientific and author of the article Bringing Minds Together. John, thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure, Sarah. Thank you.
In your article, you talk about how some kinds of collaborations don't even look like collaborations. What do you mean by that?
It's rather classic. In fact, there was a wonderful Pulitzer Prize-winning book by Tracy Kidder called Soul of a New Machine, written about a very famous company in Massachusetts called Data General, which was competed with digital equipment at the time. And the story was about a small little skunkworks group in the company that was competing with a larger group in the company that were trying to develop the first 32-bit computer. And one gentleman worked with a group of about 10 engineers who didn't get along at all, but he managed to play them like a violin, I guess you can say, and they ended up, this small little group, beating the large group and also beating digital equipment to create the first 32-bit computer. And it's an example of collaborative leadership where people can be focused. They may not like each other, but they can be focused on the mission and really harness the collective intelligence to produce great results.
So it sounds like there may be some situations where this approach is more effective than others. Maybe when people don't like each other very much?
Well, yeah, you use it depending on the situation. And unfortunately, there are many situations in which you are working with people who don't necessarily like each other, don't want to get along. And so that takes a special type of leader to produce that environment. That's the Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi sort of thing. And in many ways, in businesses, there are people who are like that. They lead from behind, in effect. They are not a command and control leader, because that doesn't work. And when you have that skill set and you understand how to do that, it's very, very powerful.
It sounds like it takes a special kind of leader to do that. What are some of the other skills or advice that you would say is necessary for that kind of leadership?
Well, obviously, what you'd like to create is a sense of trust in the environment. You can't necessarily get people to trust each other, particularly if they don't know each other or they do know each other, and that could be negative. One year, we actually brought together about 30 of the top vascular surgeons in the world, by their own definition, I might add. And it was very important for us to get real candor from them in terms of evaluating some products that we were developing, new avenues in technology. And one of the doctors helped us, and what he did is he suggested that we buy squirt guns. And we gave squirt guns to every single member of that group and said, look, if anybody starts to pontificate, bullshit if you will, then express your views with the tools at hand. And in fact, they did. They soaked a couple of dogs. And the entire dynamic of that meeting changed. It was very, very powerful and very productive for us.
That sounds like a risky move that really paid off for you. I want to talk about sort of a converse problem and see if you have a solution there, which is, you also mentioned in the article, sometimes people pretend to collaborate, but aren't really, and what looks like collaboration on the surface isn't. What should a leader do in that kind of situation?
Well, usually that's because the leader isn't doing their job. And an awful lot of collaborations, unfortunately, more fit into that category than the other. If you think of any blue ribbon commission, blue ribbon commissions are brought together for show more than substance. In theory, they're supposed to answer the problem, but they don't. They are to let the public know, or let whoever is responsible know, that the right people have been brought together. It's political correctness run amok. And those are the ones that look like collaborations but aren't. Those are pseudo collaborations. And when you're faced with a situation like that, you have to literally design specifically an event or a process whereby you can undo that behavior.
Well, John, I wish we had more time to dig into this. Of course, there's a lot more in the article. Thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you, Sarah.
That was John Abele of Boston Scientific. For more, including his article, go to hbr.org.